So I do not know what's going on in the ATV. I just don't have the bandwidth. So, wishing them luck.
Hello everybody, welcome back to the Body Serve. I'm Jonathan.
I'm James.
This is the Ganja episode.
Oh, very funny. 420?
Where in the world is the 420 area code?
I know because I looked it up. Was it supposed to be a surprise?
No, it's a surprise for the listeners who don't know. You're supposed to know.
It's actually the country code for Czech Republic, or Czechia. Very appropriate for tennis. An incredible tradition.
Some folks seem to be enjoying the area code segment at the start of the shows. We've had a few people reach out to us.
Yeah, it's so funny. Like, it's so frivolous, but I love geography.
I guess when you've done the show as long as we have and the episode number is so high, then we can do something like this.
There's only so much significance to these numbers. Covering the Masters now that they're 2 weeks long can be a challenge. We are going to be recapping Madrid, but we're sort of in this weird limbo in Rome. The seeds have just started playing, so it feels like the gaps between episodes can be too long if you don't do like a mid-Masters roundup.
Well, that's where planning and being on top of things come into play.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Jannik Sinner has now won 5 Masters 1000 tournaments in a row.
Yeah. This final was versus that guy. Everybody knows what happened. 6-1, 6-2 in 56 minutes. From The Guardian, they said, quote, Zverev flailed helplessly throughout his pitiful 56 minutes on court. Wow. You know, the British papers do not hold back.
Well, it's an accurate description of what happened. I did not watch that match, but I went back to watch the highlights ahead of this recording, and it was every bit as bad and one-sided as the scoreline could suggest. He was even lucky to win 3 games. It probably should have been a bagel first set.
I believe Jannik hit 19 winners and 5 unforced errors. He even said after the match, in the nicest way possible, that Alex did not play well today.
It's 9 straight wins over that guy for Jannik Sinner, including 14 consecutive sets. And the sets really have not been competitive. This is a stretch of matches, these 9 matches, that date back to Cincinnati in 2024. Sinner beat him 4 times in 2025. And to date, we're not even halfway through the season, and he's beaten him 4 more times this year. 6-1, 6-2 at this tournament. Semis of Monte Carlo, 6-1, 6-4. He managed to get to a tiebreak in Miami, still straight sets. And then we go back to 6-2, 6-4, 6-4, 6-3. And then at the Paris Masters in the semifinals, 6-love, 6-1. The last time that guy won a set from Jannik Sinner was in Vienna 2025, winning the first set 6-3.
Jannik has held serve 63 straight times against that guy, which is just an unbelievable stat to contemplate. And the bad luck is they have met in the last 5 Masters tournaments, with Jannik winning all of those.
The bad luck for whom?
That guy, right? He's consistently reaching the late stages of these tournaments, this year especially, but he is so feckless against Jannik especially, but also Carlos.
Well, it looks like, especially against Jannik, that he's playing a different sport. They're playing at different speeds. He's somebody who has purportedly a big serve, is able to serve in the 70s, have a 70-plus percentage first serve rate in this final, and still not be able to do anything.
Yeah, I think his game has just not grown since he was winning big tournaments in 2018, 2019. The serve always helped him a lot. Great backhand, but too passive from the ground. Like, the story is always the same. This is not new information. But the game is not evolving enough. Like, what are you doing to match up well against Sinner. He's beaten Carlos. I mean, their head-to-head is very tight, and he had him on the ropes at the Australian Open, but Carlos still dug out of that match with cramps.
That guy was asked about the result after the match, and he said, quote, "I think there's a big gap between Sinner and everybody else right now. And I think there's a big gap between Alcaraz, myself, maybe Novak, and everybody else." You see what he did there?
Yeah. Oh.
This had people big mad.
I needed to take the exact quote because I wanted to understand, was he putting himself in the group with Alcaraz and maybe Novak? Was it like steps? Was it Sinner and then a step to Alcaraz and then a step to that guy?
There's room for interpretation whereby he's not putting himself and Alcaraz on the same level. It was a little bit murky, a tiny percentage. But this is not a benefit of the doubt that I'm willing to give him.
No. I mean, Alcaraz fans would be justified in being mad about separating Carlos and Jannik. Right? Carlos has been injured for like 2 twos, and now he's just out of it. Like, the conversation has moved on. Jannik has won 5 straight Masters, but Carlos owns 3 of the 4 Slam titles.
I push back against this idea that it's Jannik having a massive gap between him and everybody else. Because Carlos is still right there, he just happens to be injured.
Right.
This is a part of the schedule that Carlos should be doing really well on, but he's not there. And so in his absence, Jannik is able to do this because there are all these feckless players below.
Yeah. There's also a perception that Carlos is just less dominating, is more beatable because, well, Zverev's matches against him have been generally closer. They're not blowouts, right? Carlos loses focus sometimes during matches. He has fun. I mean, what's frustrating about him is what is also joyful about him.
My point is, it's a fallacy that it's Jannik and the Seven Dwarves.
Right.
Like we had an episode title one time. And we have this really short memory in tennis when somebody has a few results in a row, and then we try to make these grand proclamations as to where their standing is in the game vis-a-vis everybody else. That's not where we are right now.
Mm-hmm. Jannik is running away with the tour because there is literally no one challenging him. His best rival is on an injury vacation.
His only rival.
His only rival. Menchik did beat him in February this year. That was his last loss.
You have here noted on the agenda that, quote, "I can see why he'd think that he and Carlos are closer, given that he has actually beaten Carlos since 2023, unlike Jannik. And their matches are generally closer."
Yes, meaning that guy has beaten Carlos in the past 3 years.
So you're giving some insight into how this delusion could have taken hold.
Right.
Okay.
The maybe Novak is hilariously disrespectful to me. I realize that Novak hasn't played at all like this spring, but he just beat the number 1 player at the Australian Open. Well, he wasn't number 1 at the time, but the guy that you've put on this pedestal. I mean, it's Novak Djokovic. Come on. He's better than you.
Novak's body just doesn't allow him to play at that high a level for that long a period and week to week anymore.
Right.
And we saw what happened in Australia, possibly because of the light work that Novak had leading up to that match, and we saw what happened subsequent to that match. He had everything to give for that match. That guy just turned 29, and my most fervent hope is that his window is closing. We've seen it with so many players from that era that their place at the top of the game is not a decades-long business.
Right.
We've seen players come and go, players who we thought would be competing for maybe one slam to be able to vulture one of them during this period, and now it's unclear whether they'll ever get back to the top 10. Mm-hmm. The Berrettinis, the Tsitsipases of the world. To that guy's credit, he's still there at number 3.
He is. He's had a lot of chances, right? He should have already won 1 or 2. If Jannik stumbles before the finish line, there's nobody else who... I mean, he should be the next in line, right? He should snatch this Roland Garros title, especially because clay is his best and favorite surface. But I
You say there's
I don't
nobody
trust
else. There's himself to get in his own way.
Yes.
And there are many, many players on the ATP who can beat him over 5 sets.
Yeah.
In that high-pressure situation. Enough of that.
I think it bears mentioning that Sinner is now very close to completing the suite of all of the 9 Masters Shields. If he wins Rome this week, he can complete his collection of all of the 14 biggest titles in men's tennis if he wins Rome and Roland Garros.
Save for the Olympic gold medal.
Mm-hmm. This has happened in a span of 3 years, if it happens. And at his age, it's actually unbelievable that this is even a possibility.
2 things are true here. It's happened because of the desert of talent on the ATP Tour at the very top level, who can even come close to that stratosphere. But it's also due to his incredible work ethic and talent.
Yes, efficiency, focus, talent. Like, nobody's taking that away, but this is clearly not fighting Rafa and Novak for big titles. You know, it's different.
Rafa, Novak, and Roger, and Andy, and Stan.
Mm-hmm.
There were a lot of 1Bs and 1Cs and 1Ds out there during that time. You had Del Potro, you had all these other guys who could do it. It is not even close to being a fair comparison.
Arthur Fils was in another semifinal, just putting together an incredible season after coming back from injury. One of the few players who people are touting as someone who can challenge Sinner at Roland Garros. Times are tough, guys. We're looking at everybody here as a candidate. But he loses 6-2, 6-4 to Sinner. They've played twice, and Arthur has lost twice in straight sets.
He is still cresting, though.
Yes.
His full potential has not been achieved yet. He still has room to maybe get to another level or 2.
Totally. I don't think it's necessarily fair to say, oh, that's Jannik's biggest threat at Roland Garros. Like, he's just not at that stage of development in his career. If he does it, amazing. But it's not something I'm expecting.
It says a lot about the public perception of that guy for people to be looking to Arthur Fils to be the one.
Yeah, or Rafa Hodar.
Because in the absence of Alcaraz, he should be the square focus to take the title as the alternative. But because of his track record of futility at every turn, nobody is looking toward him, or nobody wants him to. We sit here and
Except for
roast him.
German TV.
We sit here and roast him episode by episode, but it would be a true calamity if he were to actually win this thing. Like, it would be the worst of times.
It would. But then you go down the line, and number 4 is Novak, who is semi-retired. And then after that, who are we looking at here, really, as the contenders? Anyone past that would be a shock. On the women's side, Marta Kostyuk continues her unbeaten clay season, beating Mira Andreeva 6-3, 7-5 to win Madrid. Her first big title like this. I want to start at the end. This was a trophy presentation that will go down in infamy.
Cinema. It was absolute cinema. At the end of the match, of course, there's no handshake, there's no greeting at the net, because Kostyuk, she doesn't fuck with Russians. Especially those who do not disavow the Russian invasion and war against Ukraine.
Yes, she will speak with one Russian, or former Russian, Daria Kazatkina, and only because she has publicly criticized the war. The changing of nationality wasn't enough for the Ukrainians. And that's not a criticism. Like,
Marta steadies herself and does a backflip on court.
a back handspring, I'm told.
Okay.
A backflip is like,
Because
when you flip.
she did use her hands too.
Yeah.
Still quite impressive.
Oh, yeah.
And shortly thereafter, the camera pans across the net, over to the right, to Mira Andreeva, weeping in her towel, covering her face, a la Vera Zvonareva.
Take your pick. Yeah. Incredible scenes. Marta, of course, doesn't acknowledge Mira at all in her acceptance speech. some people online were mad. Like, it's really not that serious. The the gentlemanly rules of tennis can perhaps be suspended when there is an actual war going on. I don't care. Meanwhile, Amira is using her runner-up plate to block her view physically of her box because she doesn't want to look at them and cry. I love crying. Like, crying is great. It shows me you care. Amira wears her emotions on her sleeve, and I think it's overall good. I think it would probably help her mentally if she didn't, like, cuss out the crowd so much, you know, getting a hold of that, but I think that will hopefully come with time.
The cussing out the crowd is crazy. You can do all these other things as long as it's only you and your team involved in it, but the cussing out the crowd, that has to stop.
It really does. But back to Marta, she had a pretty incredible week, beating Putintseva, number 5, Jessie Pegula in straight sets. Katie McNally is back, by the way, playing singles. Number 13, Noskova, Potapova, and then, of course, Andreeva in the final.
You may look at this list of players and think it's not a murderer's row, but it's a list of players who've pretty much all been playing very well.
Jessie less so on the red clay, but yes, otherwise I would agree. Seeing Potapova in a Masters semifinal was a surprise.
Of course, historically, Kostyuk has been known to be very volatile on court. She was a tennis prodigy, playing into the third round of the Australian Open at age 15. This is somebody who we've known about for a long time, but her progression and development has been hindered by her own temperament. She's taken steps by seeing a sports psychologist. She says she's been in therapy for years now, and she's managed to treat the game, the sport, as just that work. Mm-hmm. That she shows up, and whether she wins or loses, it's about how she presented herself on that day. She lost early in Indian Wells and Miami, but also said that she wasn't too concerned about that because she knows how she was playing in practice, and then she goes on to win in Rouen and then Madrid. Of course, some might say that Hailey Baptiste did her a really big solid at this tournament.
I would probably say that, by taking out Sabalenka. Kostyuk obviously has to be considered as a contender for Roland Garros, but to be fair, she has only one win over the trio of Sabalenka, Swiatek, and Rybakina. That's a big hill to climb.
I really don't have to consider her a favorite for Roland Garros. One big title does not a favorite make.
Not a favorite, just in the conversation.
Well, you
right?
know how this goes.
Lower tier.
Okay. If your name is being mentioned as a favorite or a contender, you're in that conversation. There's so many women on the WTA Tour. The top players had a bad week. Mm-hmm. A bad week and a half. And there were not so many people. That one person whose name is Moron. Jose Moron.
Moron. Yeah.
Who tried.
That is such crappy bad faith, especially seeing what's going on in the ATP right now. Saying, "Oh, look at the list of people in the WTA quarterfinals. This would never happen on the ATP."
Well, if you're going by just seeds, that doesn't mean anything on the ATP tour. Just because 8 seeds make the quarterfinals doesn't make it a quality lineup. The two tours are completely disparate in that sense at the moment. So that, first of all, was disingenuous. And then to ignore the last 2 years of ATP tennis compared to the last 2 years of WTA tennis was wild. It was just pushing a misogynist agenda.
Yeah, and only in extreme cases will I sit here and make the case for women's sports anymore. The case doesn't need to be made. A lot of this, the point is to waste your time, right? It's rage baiting.
It's for clicks.
Bad faith. Don't waste my time. I'm going to take it back.
I am so happy to be away from the era of thinking about how I tweet to maximize engagement, retweets, and likes. When we write something on Blue Sky, we are getting nothing. Blue
For
Sky,
better or worse.
Blue Sky is a black hole. It's where engagement goes to die.
Yeah.
We're just out here talking amongst a very small group, and it doesn't permeate outside of that. So these folks are out here still on Twitter trying to do the most.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned Haley Baptiste. What a huge week for her. Beating the number one, the defending champion, Arina Sabalenka. She rises to a career high of number 25. This match was wild. She faced 6 match points in total. 5 of them in the game in the third set where she was serving at 4-5. Saves one with an ace. One with this great drop shot lob combo. 2 of them serve and volleying on clay. She just has so much to give. Like we were talking about her last week, what her ceiling is. And she really has just so much versatility.
She has a dynamic game. That guy does not have a dynamic game.
Oh my God, we're not back there.
We're back there because that's one of his big problems.
Creativity.
Creativity, power of shot, being able and willing to give your opponent different looks. Mm-hmm. Having the chutzpah to try things in pressure situations. He doesn't have that. Haley has that. And she's putting it into play successfully on a more consistent basis. And she sees herself all the way up to a career high of number 25.
This is her first career win over a top 5 player. She just reached her first 1,000 level quarterfinal in Miami. Now she's reached her first semifinal. Just love what I'm seeing. And she likes yogurt instead of regular gelato. She really wasn't happy with the yogurt in Rome.
I was confused by that player box gelato rating thing with that specific instance.
Okay.
I don't recall seeing yogurt being served or sold at these gelato shops. Where did she get the yogurt from?
I mean, maybe we just weren't looking for it.
Or was it a yogurt flavored gelato?
I don't know. A lot of people got the nocciolo, which is hazelnut. Very popular flavor.
Do you want to cue in the listeners to what you're talking about in case they haven't seen it?
Players Box posted a long video on TikTok and Instagram.
What is Players Box?
Oh, it's the podcast with Maddie, Jesse, Des Kravchuk, and
Jen
Brady. Love her down. Didn't forget her. And they were on the streets of Rome with a bunch of U.S. tennis players, probably like 10 or 11 of them in Trastevere. And they were just trying gelato. And each of them gave their review out of 5. The review system was very confusing for some of them. They didn't know if it was out of 5 or 10. Francis was there in sunglasses. And Coco says, "Oh my God, it's LeBron."
They weren't very adventurous in the flavors that they got. A lot of people got the exact same thing.
Yeah, a lot of coffee. Coco had pistachio.
Was that really necessary?
I mean, it's an Italian word.
Stracciatella.
Yeah. Francis was like, "Yeah, this is chocolate chip." I don't know how to say that. It was cute.
Another next-genner had a big result in Madrid. Alexander Blocks. I first learned of this guy, I want to say almost 2 years ago. Last year, the women were in Toronto, correct?
I don't remember. No, 2 years ago.
Oh yeah, so the men were in Toronto last year. So it was last summer that I first saw him. I was waiting outside or in the concourse of the main stadium at, what is it called now? Rexall Center?
Sobeys
Arena. So Sobeys Stadium. And I could see the monitor and I saw this guy on the screen. And I saw the name and I was like, oh, I've never seen that name before. Mm-hmm. And go fast forward to the end of the year. He's at the Next Gen Finals. And now he's in this big Masters 1000 event having a big breakout.
He beat the defending champion, Casper Ruud. How many of you remembered that Casper was the defending champion, by the way?
I did not. I had to look that up.
That was in the quarterfinals. And this is after beating Nakashima, Felix, and Francisco Cerundolo. I kept getting confused by the flags because the Belgian flag is very similar to the German one. He's from Belgium, not Germany. I'm sure everybody else knows that, except me.
He was the runner-up to Lerner Tien in last year's Next Gen Finals. He also played Lerner Tien in the 2023 Australian Open Boys Final, which Blocks won. There's a lot of synchronicity and overlap with some of these young guys.
Yeah.
Fonseca and Tien have been tethered for so long. They've played in junior finals against each other. Mm-hmm. And now Alexander and Lerner as well.
Now we have Hodar and Alexander sort of breaking out at the same time.
There is hope on the men's tour. They just haven't fully hatched yet and are not quite ready to what?
Snatch.
Correct. Taylor Townsend and Katerina Siniakova continue to win. All they do is win. Townsend specifically has won 4 straight titles. These two have won 3 straight Masters 1000 titles together. Taylor had that title in Texas.
Texas.
They beat the doubles team of Mira Andreeva and Diana Schneider in the final of this doubles event. Mira being the runner-up in both singles and doubles.
Yeah, Taylor has now jumped to number 2 in the doubles rankings, behind her partner, Siniakova. I think she was number 5 previously.
This is a healthy living that they're making now.
Yeah.
By winning so much in doubles, Taylor she's doing well.
Yeah, she can pay for those vacations with Naomi now.
She just moved house before flying to Madrid. Did you see the little segment with Archer Feast and Prakash?
I did, yes. They were talking about, who are you listening to right now? So innocent, Arthur.
And so Feast is trying to explain this artist that he's listening to as if it's somebody that you might not know who it is. I think his name is Corday?
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 Cordae.
Yes.
He spelled it.
Archer, we very much know who this person is. In fact, he is the father of Naomi Osaka's daughter.
Prakash played that incredibly. His face was like, he couldn't tell if Arthur was saying that on purpose because of the tennis connection, but never once let on that, you don't know?
It works so well for Feast because he's had this outsized scrutiny recently. I say outsized because it's not just his tennis that people are talking about. His celebrity is rising. The thirst of it all for him has given him a bigger spotlight in tennis. And this shows that he still has a little bit of naivete, a little bit of, I don't want to say innocence. But
Right. That's not really what it is. But
newness and that quality that Naomi had when she was first coming up. Do you know what I mean? Like just kind of still authentically youthful and unburdened by the tennis and spotlight of it all.
yeah.
One of the reasons why we didn't record on Monday, which has been our usual schedule so far in the past few weeks, months, record on Monday, maybe release Tuesday, is that the Met Gala was happening on Monday, and we knew there was going to be a large tennis presence there. And just in case something spectacular happened, we didn't want to have too long a gap before we talked about it. If you recall, there was the Serena Sharapova stuff that happened a few years ago.
Venus was a co-chair this year.
Uh-huh.
Luckily, nothing remarkable happened at the Bezos Gala.
Except for Naomi's reveal. That was something. Venus looked amazing. Didn't necessarily love Serena's look. She looked good. But it wasn't... I mean, I'm not a fashion person.
Yeah, I'm a Met Gala hater, so I don't even know why we're talking about it. Someone tweeted, it just will go down in history as one of the greats, talking about how seeing Lauren Sanchez there was the reason that Mrs. Astor didn't let the riffraff in the Gilded Age. And it's so true. They're declassing the show, to quote the great Nene Leakes.
Francisco Caboli. Nope, that's not his name. What is it? Flavio.
You really
I
still
really
don't know it.
I really don't. But speaking of Francisco, have you noticed just how much more play he's getting in media circles?
Who?
Sarundalo? I feel like I see him
yeah.
everywhere now. Every time there's an ATP bit, he's front and center, which wasn't the case even last year.
No, he
I feel.
was like in the top 20 and nobody ever heard from him. They discovered that he's hot. Or that people find him hot.
They sure did.
Yeah.
But Flavio Caboli, who we mentioned on a previous episode that he seems to have quite a big following, he has this exuberance, cuteness of youth thing going that apparently comes with a side of no homo.
Some fans in Madrid yelled at him, "You are beautiful, Flavio." And he's like, I'm straight.
Sono hetero?
Yes. Literally, I'm hetero. Like, okay, first of all, nobody asked. And this is fragility to the max. When a man tells you you're hot, you say, wow, thank you, because I know you gays have very discerning taste.
If you are to be desired, if you are to be thirsted after, you must, as a man, accept all comers.
You must?
You must. It is, provided it's respectful and not leering and predatory.
Mm-hmm. I am going to say you mustn't. You do not have to.
Well, you can't do this.
You can. We'll just make fun of you. It just betrays this level of fragility, of insecurity. Like, grow up. This is 2026. Rafa had a guy run on court and kiss him on the face, and he was unperturbed. Now, I'm not saying you have to accept that, but...
He just said, it was fine. He just wanted to tell me he loves me.
He was very nice. Remember,
It wasn't cute. It wasn't cute.
Big news this week.
Something a bit more serious than Flavio Coboli being homophobic.
Well, not necessarily homophobic.
Listen, it is what I said it is, okay?
Anyway, big news this week. A number of top players issued a joint statement about their disappointment in Roland Garros' prize money announcement. 20 players, including Sabalenka, Alcaraz, Djokovic, Sinner, Swiatek, Goff. They said they will convene a meeting in Paris ahead of the tournament, which they also did last year. And the big issues on the table here are the share of revenue being given out as prize money, player welfare, and finally the governance and consultation mechanisms with players.
The players are mad that they're not getting access to the table. That seems to be the biggest issue here, alongside the discrepancy between the increase in revenue and the increase in player prize money.
Yes.
These decisions are being made behind the scenes with an accompanying announcement, and the players are just supposed to deal with it.
Yeah. This is part of tennis's tradition. These were private tournaments for a long time, held by private clubs. The four slams are still governed independently, even though the ITF kind of runs the four slams, or operates them at least. They operate by their own rules, and they don't really have to tell you why or open up their books, because these are private, non-profit corporations.
Anytime we've done a history episode on tennis that has to do with governance, we've talked about how many different hands are in the pot. However many different people are in the kitchen. And this is another example of how that plays out. The players are saying the regular tour events give us 22% of the pie. That's my understanding at any rate.
Okay.
The players get a bigger share of the pot from regular events. That has not been the case at the Grand Slam level. They want that to increase. The Grand Slams want to issue these statements and say, oh wow, this is a record prize money on offer. You're getting so much more than last year, but they're not dealing with percentages. They're not dealing with scale. And so when you sift through it, you see that they're making more and cutting back on the proportion of that profit that goes to the players. And the players gave them a heads up. They said, hey, this is what we want. The PTPA sued the four slams last year. They have this competing request alongside these group of players. So two separate entities of players are going at these tournaments saying, we want more.
This most recent action was spurred by the announcement by Roland Garros that there was a 9.5% increase in prize money. But like you said, they're showing a 14% increase in revenue. So players are still emphasizing that there's this shrinking proportion of revenue being returned through prize money, and that the players are the ones really providing most of the value here.
And the tournaments are phrasing it and terming it in a certain way to make the players look greedy.
Yes.
They want you to look at this and say, well, they're making millions upon millions of dollars for winning this tournament. They're getting even more this year. What are they complaining about? Mm-hmm. That's the whole purpose of the setup of this thing.
Yeah, it's look at Steph Curry. How dare he ask for more money? But back to the players' side. In their letter, they said there was, quote, no engagement on player welfare, and no progress toward establishing a formal mechanism for player consultation within Grand Slam decision-making. And if you listen to a number of the players talk, that does seem like where a lot of the bad feelings come from, right? The feeling of disrespect, that these decisions are handed down from on high without any conversation with players. Players do not have a union. They do not have the legal right to sit at a bargaining table with these tournaments. The tournaments can do whatever they want.
There is no French Open without players. That's a fact. And what the players are realizing now and coalescing towards, it seems, is a potential boycott of these 4 tournaments. If it comes to it, in the grand scheme of tennis history, what is 2 to 3 slams missed? If collectively they've decided that for the greater good of tennis going forward and its players, this needs to happen. It's one of those rare instances where tennis players seem to be coalescing together pretty uniformly at the top toward a common goal. Have you ever heard of something like this from players in recent times? I realize I just kind of preempted you there, but to take it back a little bit, there's this push and pull between the slams and the players, in that the players are demanding something and the slams are essentially dragging their feet because they technically don't have to do anything.
Right.
What is going to be the push to get them to do something? And as I mentioned, a boycott seems to be the only thing.
Yeah, in the absence of like an actual legal responsibility to bargain, I don't know what the players can do aside from strategically withdrawing their labor. And so that might look like a boycott. It might look like a walkout. It might be skipping press. Like, who knows what it actually looks like in practice. But that seems to be their main leverage at this point. But it would require a number of players, like hundreds, to work together. And then what? Then you have the Scab crew come out and play a slam? Like, you want the number 500 player in the world winning Roland Garros?
It's gonna get ugly. If it gets that far, it's gonna get ugly.
Totally, yeah. Now, I know we're getting ahead of ourselves a little. I don't know that a boycott will ever happen, but the fact that the number 1 player in the world is talking about it was really surprising to me.
Backed up by Coco Gauff.
Yes.
This is something that the top players are all talking about.
Yeah.
It seems to have caught a lot of people off guard, but this is something that they're talking about a lot behind the scenes. And when you have a cabal of players...
Not a cabal.
...led by Jesse Pegula, who seems to have great influence in the locker room, that's going to spread.
Yeah.
It'll spread much more easily in this era of we play nice with each other on the women's tour, rather than we're cutthroat enemies.
Sabalenka said, I think at some point we will boycott it. I feel like that's going to be the only way to fight for our rights. Coco talked about it as well. And there's some really good, consistent messaging here, which I think shows there's a level of professionalism behind what's going on, and I'll talk about that in a moment. But Coco said, when you look at the 50 to 100, 50 to 200, how much money each slam makes, it's kind of unfortunate where the 200 best tennis players are living paycheck to paycheck, whereas other sports, it's not even a discussion. So she's drawing this line between people like her, who are making a lot and also earn a lot in endorsements, and the top 200 tennis player who cannot make a living, who consistently lives in debt.
Sabalenka went on to say, let's see how far we can get. If it's going to take players to boycott, I feel like nowadays we girls can easily get together and go for this because some of the things I feel like it's really unfair to the players. I think at some point it's going to get to this.
Jannik Sinner was very forceful in his language, saying, we give much more than what we're getting back. It's not only for the top players, it's for all the players. And then later he said, of course we talk about money, but the most important thing is respect, and we just don't feel it.
I think more than ever, a lot of these players are feeling the sacrifice that they make physically and mentally to have these careers. And that to be a top player, it requires much more than just showing up. That when they talk about the physical toll of the extended season with not much of an off season, there's a whole lot of things wrapped up into that becomes a lot more egregious to them when they feel like their grievances are not being heard. Mm-hmm. They're essentially being told to just shut up and play.
Yeah. Ben Shelton mentioned had not having a seat at the table. And like I said, the messaging among a lot of these players has been so consistent. This group of players has been called Project Red Eye. It's like their internal working title. And they're actually being led by Larry Scott, who a lot of you may remember as the former chairman and CEO of the WTA from 2003 to 2009. It was a hugely successful era of the WTA, the Sony Ericsson years. Larry's tenure saw this huge increase in sponsorship dollars. He was a huge advocate for equal pay, and he left the WTA in 2009 to be the commissioner of the Pac-12 conference in the NCAA. This is somebody who knows tennis institutions inside and out, who's just a real professional at this. And I think it's shown in the way that the top players have shown up and how articulately they've spoken about it, that there is some actual organization behind this.
Now, this president of the Italian Federation, this...
I just wanted to get in there.
I read about this and I was like, this dude is trying it. He is trying it. He is not a full faith or good faith actor, I would say.
Right, still an actor.
But it's not all altruistic here.
It's you read the quote.
Angelo Benaghi, is that his name?
Yep.
He drops a bomb saying that the Italian Federation sides with the players and that they want to, quote, blow apart this monopoly. He says, the players have our full support. It's scandalous that we're required by the ATP to share a bigger cut of the revenues with the players, and the 4 Grand Slams hand out a smaller cut. It's shameful and creates competitive disparities too, because the 4 nations that organize the slams have a huge amount of money to invest in their technical sectors that other nations don't have. This is also the man who believes and wants and is agitating for the Italian Open to become the 5th slam.
Yes.
Now, if you've been to the Foro Italico, there's no way that happens on that site. And there's not much room to expand it.
There is no room to expand it. Yeah.
They have a roof that's apparently coming in 2028.
Really?
Yeah, they're working on it. And we sat on that center court. It's not a slam center court.
It sure isn't, no.
It isn't.
The Italian Open, times have changed, and the opportunity to be a slam is definitely long in its history. But this is interesting, right? Benaghi says, yeah, the players want more, but let's talk about me. Let's talk about how the 4 slam nations get all this money to spend on their national federations and player development, and no other country does.
And I want some of that money to then become one of them.
Right, because it's not about like breaking the cycle, right? It's just about joining. It's a seat at the table, not breaking the table.
He wants to support the players in their agitation to disrupt them.
Mm-hmm. Now, he does have a great point, right? That as an ATP 1000 tournament, there are requirements on the level of prize money being paid, but the Grand Slams don't have to adhere to the same rules.
Yet all this talk about pay disparity and pay inequity and
we don't want to touch
funds
that.
that are not being properly allocated to the players, he does not pay the men and women equally in Rome.
No.
He's not required to, and so he doesn't.
Meanwhile, Elena Rybakina is over here talking about taxes. Girl, we're all over here, and you're over there. Come over here.
Drive the Porsche over.
Taxes?
Do you want to tell them exactly what she said?
She said if the majority said we're boycotting, then she would be up for it. But she said there are some other issues that we're not talking about here. It's not only prize money. A lot of people are not aware that there is taxes which are big. You even make more prize money, but you're giving it all to the taxes.
She's really sounding like a 1%er here.
It's really important to boycott France, boycott Germany, boycott any country with high taxes. I don't know. What are you trying to do here?
Move to Monaco. I don't know what to tell you. Move to the Bahamas.
You're getting taxed in the place where you earn the money. So this is an interesting spot in tennis that I didn't actually anticipate would happen, right? The players, aside from the PTPA lawsuit, this group of top players have sent 3 letters. This is the 3rd, and this has blown up in a way it hasn't before. we talked about what sort of leverage do players have aside from striking or boycotting. There's no union. Tournaments don't actually have to consult with players when they increase prize money. On the tournament side, they're saying, listen, we have the PTPA lawsuit to deal with, so we are prevented from having really meaningful meetings with you guys while this is still going on. Project Red Eye thinks that's a bad excuse. But they're also saying, as nonprofits, we distribute our revenues all over the place, across the country, to infrastructure and player development. Now, that is true, but also an excuse at the same time.
But also, we're paying people like Craig Tiley millions of dollars to poach him from Tennis Australia. People hide behind, and organizations hide behind this veil of nonprofit. As if to imply and let you think that they're only doing altruistic work and that the money is spent with no waste. It's all for good.
Or this is not a charity.
The money that you don't have access to, we can't give it to you because we need it for good things. We're doing good in the world. Mm-hmm. That's what nonprofit connotes, right?
Most nonprofit executives don't earn what these executives earn. The thing is, players are the product. And I know a lot of corporate people will say, well, what would they do without the infrastructure, without these sites, the tour, these tournaments? That they're providing the stage on which these players do their craft, right? But the thing is, they are prevented from doing their job anywhere else. And this is what the PTPA lawsuit takes aim at, this cartel. The players are not allowed to take their labor anywhere else.
I'd be very interested to see if and when this thing progresses down the road, if the players get a seat or a voice in how money is distributed, if they get more money, to see what they do with it. Because presumably then they will have a say in who gets what. Mm-hmm. If it's top players advocating for more money for themselves, that rings more shallow to me and more hollow than if they were to be, as they say, advocating for the folks who cannot make a living playing professional tennis.
Mm-hmm. There are a lot of inefficiencies in the way that tennis is run. There are a number of separate governing bodies. There are lots of fingers in the pot, as you've said. The slams are run by 4 distinct organizations. You have 2 different tours. You have the ITF, etc. Right? There's probably a lot of savings to be had by making tennis governance more efficient.
There's also a lot of money to be lost for interested parties who already have their hand in the pot.
Well, exactly.
Who is going to volunteer to be relocated, to be reallocated, to then maybe have money taken out of their pocket, to have less control over how decisions are made? Because it's not just money, it's the power that comes along with it.
Yes. This isn't unique to tennis, but it's something so particular about the sport that, you have these sort of small monarchies in every slam nation. You have these little seats of power that will not cede their position. You also have different layers and points of resistance, right? You have this PTPA lawsuit painting themselves as like this ragtag group, but they're backed up by a billionaire. You also have a separate parallel group of players working toward very similar outcomes, probably in a less radical way. This is just like very in lockstep with how tennis has evolved over the past century.
I kind of want to see a boycott. I've yet to live through a boycott.
Right.
So I want to see how it plays out. Because I think there'll be a lot of reckoning that comes along with that. A lot of mess that will help to fix a lot of things in tennis.
Yeah. It'll certainly crystallize who is down and who is only looking out for themselves, right? The level of cooperation that would be required from people who are, by definition, competitors.
And selfish.
Yeah. It would be really interesting to see.
Well, yes, and that's why I want to see it, because it'll be something I've never seen or thought could happen in tennis. And so the next thing to look out for is, this decision has already been made with the prize money allotment at the French Open. What is Wimbledon going to do next?
Right.
They've seen what's happening here, and they can take steps. Will they? What they choose to do will go a long way toward plotting the course for how this is going to play out in the immediate future.
Yeah, the players have already signaled we'll be looking at Wimbledon and see what they're doing.
On TikTok this week, the video of one Whitney Elizabeth Houston performing at the opening of the Arthur Ashe Stadium came across my timeline, and I'd seen it many times before. Well, that's a lie. I have seen it many times before, but I only was aware of it recently, like within the last 5 years. I watched it so many times in the last couple days because she sings One Moment in Time, which is one of my all-time favorite songs. It's one of my favorite Whitney songs. It's one of my favorite Whitney live performances at the Grammys. Way back in the day when it first came out. It was a song that was attached to the '88 Olympic Games. I reference it on this show all the time. When players indeed have their one moment in time, when they're racing with destiny. Or as Whitney says, destiny! And in that one moment in time, they are free. Mm-hmm. It's just such a great song, incredibly cheesy, but for sports, it's the most perfect sports pop song ever made.
And man, Whitney was a symbol of American nationalism and excellence several times through her career, right? Seoul Olympics,
Super Bowl,
Star Spangled Banner with fighter jets flying over her head.
She talked a lot about how much she loved America.
Yeah.
She did many times. But her voice was, to quote Cool Runnings, Olympic.
Indeed.
It was the perfect voice and vehicle for this message. Anyway, she shows up at Arthur Ashe Stadium wearing white, all white, as she did in her white dress at the Grammys. And on the court are all these former champions of the US Open looking on as Whitney serenades them. And I want to give a big shout out to Tracy Austin because she was the only one who knew the words. The only one. And she was mouthing words at a point in the song that was not like the most known part of the song.
Right.
So you know she was down with that song and down with Whitney. Meanwhile, you have Martina Navratilova over here doing Oprah in the audience while Mariah is singing, pretending like she knows the words.
She didn't know the words. While Whitney was singing, they did this montage of great moments in tennis history, and you didn't really hear much until Chrissy appeared, and then Martina got a huge ovation from the New York crowd. And then, of course, Jimmy Connors and John McEnroe and Steffi Graf. But all of those people were in attendance. The Australians were there.
Fucking Nastasi was there.
Yeah. Vilas, Stefan Edberg's hot self was there.
Becker was looking good that night, too.
He was, yeah. I gotta give it to him.
He had like a 3-year window where he was a very handsome man.
Mm-hmm. Wow,
and
only 3 years.
Yeah.
You know, unfortunately, some of us men, that's all we get. It's short. You better use it.
The USTA has been very on brand since at least that time of using Althea Gibson's image and likeness and story and career in a very prominent way. Mm-hmm. She opened the video montage. She was the very first image shown. Of course, there's now the bust of Althea Gibson at the US Open. And every time I see something like that, I'm just annoyed is not the right word, but sad that her legacy does get to live on, but she had to struggle so much in her lifetime. Not just in her playing days where she broke so many barriers. That's what she's revered for. And that comes the necessary amount of struggle, especially in that time. Mm-hmm. That doesn't come as a surprise. But the way that tennis and America did not celebrate her in the immediate years after her career that led to so much more struggle and strife, that's what I'm left with when I see her now. I encourage you all to seek out that video. You will send out...
Yeah, I'll link it. It's on YouTube as well.
You'll do some stories on Instagram, and when you promote the episode on Blue Sky, you can link to it there.
It's an interesting time for Whitney's voice as well, because there's definitely there's like a break during that period. This was 1997. This was not any longer her vocal prime, and all the greats go through it. Mariah went through it in the late 90s as well and had some new primes, but this was distinct from the 1988 performances, right? The resonance was different.
Correct, but the way she still nailed Destiny.
Oh, yeah.
Wild.
Well, I think the later period's interesting because you hear her interpret songs differently because of how her voice sounds now. And you heard it with Aretha Franklin, too. I like Aretha's smoker's voice.
It's different with Whitney, though, because she always reinterpreted her songs from the very start of her career.
Yes.
It's just that she wasn't able to do certain things anymore. Mm-hmm. Whitney was always a much better singer live than in the studio. Now, I don't know if we've mentioned this on the show before, but maybe some people out there want to know how your social media handle came to be, Elliot JMR. And something happened these past few days that brought it back to my mind.
Elliot is no part of my name.
Though some people think your name is Elliot.
Right. Fair enough. It was Elliot Yamin from American Idol. I think this was 2005. Elliot just came on American Idol, I guess, recently. I
This week.
haven't watched it in many years, but I was obsessed with Idol back in the day, in the first few seasons. And Elliot was my favorite contestant, probably ever.
Finished 4th, 5th?
I don't know.
6th?
He finished pretty well. It's such a smooth voice, and he sang 2 Donny Hathaway songs during his season. And I'm happy to say that introduced me to Donny. And, you know, I'm a massive, massive fan of Donny Hathaway for the past over 20 years now. I think he's probably the best male singer we've ever had in American popular music. Mm-hmm. And yes, I feel very confident saying that. There's no best, but like Donny's voice is undeniable.
There's a lot of black people who would take issue with Luther Vandross.
Is Donny not black? I mean,
I'm saying Luther Vandross is considered by many to be.
Sure, that is true.
Yeah.
And he's amazing. To me, Donny is the best.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah, I picked my handle after Elliot. I don't know why. And I loved E.T., the movie, and the boy's name was Elliot.
What did you think of the performance?
I wanted more Elliot Yamin.
Did you not like the guy? Cade, I think his name is. I thought he was pretty good.
You know what? Back in the day, they didn't really have that intense auto-tune on the microphones. So it's hard for me to say. I find the production really off-putting now. It's not that guy's fault. Like, he obviously has a great voice. I just find the intense auto-tune really distracting.
Well, I guess when you were a music minor in college, there are certain things that just elevate you above others.
You know, I mean, they all use it. Like, Beyonce uses it. You know, you'd be silly not to at this point, but still.
We missed the 10th anniversary of Maria Sharapova's doping announcement.
I can't believe we missed it. It was March 2016. You may remember where you were. I do.
I do.
I know where I was on the subway coming home from college, my second or third go around at college.
Your HR school?
Yeah.
I was at Square One Mall in Mississauga, and I was running errands, but the time was approaching, so I had to sit my ass in a corner, away from people on a little bench, and wait for the announcement.
Is that the last time you were at Square One?
Possibly. I mean, who has time to go all the way out there anymore?
Oh, really?
No, I think I used to go there back when Express was in Canada, very briefly.
Oh, it's not here anymore?
No, they had a store out there. Also, back when I used to wear Express.
Henry Breadstick on Blue Sky, whom many of you probably know from Twitter, reminded us that Maria set up a countdown clock on her website, counting down to the announcement. And the announcement was that she had tested positive for a banned substance. I mean, nobody is doing it like her these days. Nobody. This is insane behavior.
And I know some of you all are tuning in because you expected me to be retiring, but under no circumstance would I be retiring or announcing my retirement in this room with this drab carpet.
This fairly ugly carpet. I mean...
It was insane behavior.
The new generation is not doing it like the girls were. They're just not. I know we weren't celebrating this 10 years ago, but looking back, wow, just absolute drama, spectacle.
It's also been 10 years since my favorite Beyonce album dropped.
Mm-hmm. Lemonade, spring 2016, relating to tennis because Serena featured very heavily in the Sorry video.
This was also around the time when she graced the Sports Illustrated cover, sitting in the throne as well. Wasn't it around that time?
I don't know. When did she win Sports Person of the Year? I think you're thinking because she was in that
Thrown
chair
in the video.
but I think that was actually like
13?
2015 when she was gunning for the calendar year slam.
I mean, roughly within a few months.
Oh, right, that's
2015,
true. That was a
2016.
year before. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Oh my god. All right. My favorite Beyonce album is Renaissance, but Lemonade has a special place in my heart. And the third is B-Day, by the way, for anyone keeping track.
It was also the era where Rafa sued Rosalind Bachelot.
Yeah. He announced,
I gonna sue her.
and guess what?
He did.
And he won.
I think that brings us to the end of the weed episode.
The check episode. A lot of you submitted questions when we asked. Thank you. We will get to them, but this agenda sort of filled up faster than I expected.
Keep sending them. Because ideally, I would like to have a rolling bank of questions that we can just pull from throughout the year.
We have a spreadsheet going.
We do. It's like, 17 questions deep at this point
At least.
that haven't been used. So email them to us, thebodyserve@gmail.com, DM us everywhere, Instagram, Blue Sky. My name is Jonathan. You can find me on Blue Sky at Tennis John.
I'm James at ElliotJMR.
2 L's, 2 T's. Everything Body Serve related can be found at linktree.com/thebodyserve.
Thanks for listening.
Till next time.
Thank you very much.